Hey everybody, this is Scoots, and you're listening to Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me, which is just stories from the Sleep With Me podcast. So if you like the stories from Sleep With Me, you've even checked out our original podcast, a full length. It's called Sleep With Me. And if you enjoy these stories, you could support the production of the show and get tons of stories-only versions of Sleep With Me on Sleep With Me Plus. If this show is worth, if you listen to it on a regular basis, you say, this show is worth $60 a year to me. This show's worth $120 a year to me. Sign up. You can sign up monthly or annually. You get a podcast with story-only versions of Sleep With Me, like this, but ad-free. You get full versions of Sleep With Me, bonus versions of Sleep With Me. And you help us keep making the show well into, hopefully, like the long future. So, but if you're new, check this out. This is called Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me. And it'll be Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me podcast. Thanks and good night. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's time for the podcaster who may find me short of breath because I just did a chair adjustment. Now I'm under a set of 3/4 stairs in the climb-in closet, which means that if I put my hands on my hips, my elbows are touching both walls. And I have a chair that is one of the few things, I didn't even realize this, but this chair has been here the whole history of the podcast. It was the least expensive office chair they sold at IKEA back in before, somewhere around 2010. And I could say that my behind gets tired sitting on here, but, you know, I'm not here to rest. I'm here to put you to rest and help you fall asleep. Because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. Thanks for making it possible, patrons. And when your hand hits the fridge tomorrow or that coffee pot, remember, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. Those sponsors are how we're able to be here for you free twice a week. Please take a second and check them out. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. If you're looking for the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me podcast or Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me, you can get yourself a pair of sleep phones, like Sleep With Me merchandise sleep phones with different logos and cool stuff on there. And you could get that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones and use Sleep With Me at checkout to save $5 off your order. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, we're talking episode 13, Last of the Time Lords, a 3-parter. And a lot of stuff happens in this episode. I still haven't seen at some point we'll cover the holiday special. I haven't watched it at all, but we'll probably cover that in the holiday season, depending on after I watch it. So this will be our last piece of Doctor Who for a little while. Episode 13, Last of the Time Lords. Let's see my handwriting here. Earth for Space Country Music. 1 year later, sea flashlights, lanterns, Martha, nun's shower, all in black. Dialogue, check. Some of the work, a little listen on back on Valiant, ready to rise, never too Lord. Doctor's checked out. Martha Jones, come back home. Talker, sticking. Whisper Zone, 1 airspace, 24 hours, homes, work, Martha's, Frank, finger codes, Jason, Jack. Oh, Jack strapped up, big shot of PM. I have no idea if any of that is correct. Let's see, these are my friends. Right now they're doing a recap. Toblerone, what? Time Lord, flashback, paradox machine, meet at last, Doctor, stop it, lasers, but Benjamin Button, down you go, Toblerone, balls, Martha's coming back, Earth, nope, and the open, and then the rest, the last of Time Lords, Earth, shot of Earth from space. So that's what I said. Maybe country music, a lantern. Martha's holding a lantern. Oh no, some dude is very handsome dude. Martha comes ashore in a boat. He's holding the lantern. You know who's holding the lantern for Martha is me in my heart. Been holding that one for a long time. Well, I guess not, because after this episode, but Martha runs ashore. She's dressed in like special forces type gear. Very confident. What's your name? Tom Milligan. You're famous Martha Jones. How long since you last been in Britain? 365 days. Been a long year. What's the plan, Toucan Sam? Professor Doherty, we got to see her. Plant 7. I'll get you in there. What's this all for? What's important? Less you know, the better, Martha tells him. You're a legend. We depend on you. Oh, yeah? What does the legend say? You went and walked across America, Japan, the Atlantic, and didn't walk across that. Save the world, you will, they say. Martha says a little late, or somebody does. And we have the Valiant. The doctor looks at a porthole with Saxon ready to rise. Doctor's grouchy. Toblerones are outside. Anything, doctor? Doctor has a blank look on his face. More Toblerones. Oh, they broke your heart, eh, doctor? Now you know who they really are. They say Martha Jones has come back home. Oh, now why would she do that? Why is she coming home? Doctor says to leave her alone. What did you whisper to her? Got a flashback of the doctor whispering to Martha. What did you tell her? I have one thing to say to you. And he says, you know what it is? Probably I was going to say, I love you. Then he pushes the doctor. He's getting over the top. Rejoice, 24 hours till launch day. Weird, the doctor touched his leg. Oh, this is a symbol, I think. 3. The symbol is 3. Or W, or wait. Jack says, smell the sea air. Martha's sister's bringing him some food, cold mash to something. She's feeding Jack. She says 3. He winks. Then we see a statue of Saxon, a giant one. All these statues apparently are all over Earth, even in Mount Rushmore. And this came out in 2007. Think about that. Or 2008. Here we go. South coast of England. Everywhere there's these giant spaceship spaceports, just salvaging everything to build this fleet of rockets. 100,000 rockets ready to launch the rest of the universe. And 1,000 different civilizations all around us. And you've been in space, the guy says. Martha goes, yeah, you got a problem with that? He goes, no, just holy cow. She goes, oh, by the way, I met Shakespeare, too. And I would be like, Martha, I was already impressed. I didn't need to know your history. You're impressive on your own. Some spheres find him, the guy. They don't see Martha. He says, I'm just working here, getting ready for, I just want to see the rockets. They're so pretty. And he says, don't worry, I'm just a worker. And the Toblerone say, okay, get back to work then. He says, how come they didn't see you? She goes, I got this magic key with a thing on it. There's 15 satellites around the planet. There's a low-level field. That's why everybody thinks that dude was Harold Saxon. Guy goes, oh, Harold Saxon, I forgot about that. And Martha talks about how she's invisible or unnoticeable. And he goes, well, I can see you. And she goes, yeah, you wanted to. And he goes, I suppose I did. She goes, is there a Mrs. Mulligan? What about you? No, she goes, I used to be someone. Doctor gives her first kiss, which is dreamy, the first episode. Then it jumps to when he whispers to her and holds her hand. She goes, a long time ago, there was somebody. And they go, we got to find this Dr. Doherty. It's 3 o'clock. We got to get moving. And then Jack's got 15 minutes. He's tries to do a little move. I think this is a distraction. Martha's father's involved. Condition red. Everybody's running around. They give the doctor the laser thing, but he says, Saxon says, it's not going to work, dude. And then we got people running around. Oh, boy. Jack says, what's going on? Jack gets caught by them. Doctor, isomorphic controls doctor. What else we got? Jack, breakout, isomorphic, say sorry. And he makes Martha's mom and sister say sorry. Didn't you learn anything from Blessed Saint Martha? His wife's there. She's in a red dress. She puts his jacket on him. He goes, siding with the doctor's not a good idea. And they say, okay, get moving. And the doctor sits down. He goes, oh, doctor. He spins him around in a chair. I remember back in the day when the doctor was famous time warrior, battling Axons and sea buddies and cascades, rifts, hoping that your dread would lift. Look at him now, grabbing laser screwdrivers. How did it come to this? He goes, oh, yeah, I did it. Ha, 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 ha. And the doctor says, listen, Saxon, you got to listen up. He goes, no, I'm talking. Great casting on Saxon, by the way. He goes, yep, this is the time for me, serving it hot, resentment. And I got a message from Martha Jones, too. More memories. We got more birdcage Toblerones, action music. They sneak in. They see this professor. She goes, I'm busy. And she goes, I don't care who. They say, we need to talk to you. She's trying to fix a TV. She misses countdown. Both Dez's. What's the plural for Des? She does a little sleep with me. Desi, Desaline. She goes, there's a transmission coming up. We got to be from Saxon. We got to be ready. There it is. And Saxon says, salutations, everybody. This is the evening. We're getting ready to make a move with those rockets. There's whispers on Earth of a child walking the Earth giving you hope, but forget about it. How much hope do you got when you look at this doctor here? Say hello, Gandalf. He's not actually human. He's an alien. Greater lifespan. But I'm going to suspend his regen in place. We're going to have some organ music. And we're going to do something more, 900 more years or something, which, interestingly, again, I can't remember if Benjamin Button got younger or whatever, but this one, it kind of, he ages the doctor in a way that he becomes like another being, kind of, like a little, I don't know, like a vinylmation figure, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Like a little action figure. And there's a lot of music. Down in years, the doctor shrinks, but he's still there in his clothes because he's a vinylmation figure. He's a clothed vinylmation figure, even though he shrunk in his clothes, kind of like the Hulk or something. Here's something I never thought about. The Hulk is a never nude. Who's the most famous never nude person? The Hulk. No, I mean, I'm sure we've seen the Hulk's butt before in the modern Marvel movies, maybe. Am I right or am I wrong? I don't know. Have we seen the Hulk nude? I mean, I'm not talking about in full nudity. Probably, I think we have. So I'm probably wrong. Saxon says, hey, Martha, did you get the message? Everybody's stunned. Martha, she smiles. They say, I'm sorry, Martha. She goes, the doctor's, he's still, he's a sentient vinylmation figure. Then they're talking about the Archangel Network as a weakness of Saxon, 15 satellites still transmitting. But that's why there's not much resistance, because it's a telepathic signal. It keeps people on edge. Old Baby Big Eyes, that's the name of the vinylmation figure. Let's see, keep people worried. Taclophane. Martha goes, they're not taclophane, that's a made-up word. Toblerone. She goes, well, we got to figure this out. I got a CD-ROM here. If we look it up, we can catch one and open it up. like Tesla coil in South Africa touched one of these. So she tries to load it up on a green screen computer. She's like, oh, I miss Bill Gates. And how'd you get this disc? I heard you were walking around Earth. What were you doing? Trying to find a way to stop the thing. Then we see another whisper of the doctor to her. They say, oh, 1.1 gigawatts or megajoules will transfer it and shut down the one Toblerone, not them all. So let's get one of these Toblerone. Let's take a look in a book, like reading Rainbow. Then Tom Mulligan or whatever, he uses himself as BAI to the T. I got the readings, get up on a sphere. He goes running, do your job. Oh, there's 1.1 gigawatts. It's like a melon when you look at it up close, a metal melon, and not a bird cage. Like a melon, like a miniature Death Star. You know what the Death Star looks like, but it's printed like the skin on a melon. It would have looked like a bird cage to me. I found what I thought was a bird cage is nothing but a melon. Metal melon. Then they get them, they go, okay, let's open this thing up and take a look, right? Like I said, in a book, but in a thing. Then we see Saxon and his wife. His wife, she doesn't seem she seems like she's under the influence of something. I mean, other than Saxon. He tells the doctor's whole plan, we're going to open up a rift in space. They won't see us coming. And then we'll establish an empire. The doctor says, stop. He goes, no, we're making a new Gallifrey here in the heavens, and then it'll stop. His wife, she's like holding on to a chair. He talks about the drumming. I got to get the drumming to stop. A never-ending drum beat. Ever since I was a child, getting bugging me, you know, calling me to do stuff. Can't you hear it? And he goes, listen, it's right. You can't hear the drumming right now. He's face to face with the doctor. The doctor holds on and glares at him. The doctor says, it's only you, dude. He goes, good. His wife turns around. One of the Toblerone come in. Tomorrow we're ready. Tomorrow we rise, never to fall. And the Saxon says, I'm doing it for these Toblerone. You love them too. Remember? So very much. And we get this big reveal, right, of where the Toblerone are from. A slow reveal, parallel with Martha and the other two opening up the melon. We see that inside the melon is something. And then Saxon gives us a recap at the same time. Basically, let's see, you love them. The dome reveal, people on the run. The skies are made of diamonds. We were running to Utopia, and they said, what are you talking about, Martha? She goes, they're us. They're the humans from the future. Because it's like like somebody remembers, they have a shared memory, though. Skies are made of diamonds. We remember Martha Jones being nice to us. We get a flashback of that kid on the LARP planet. Utopia didn't work out. Martha can't believe it. So this is her first time discovering this particular part, even though she has a plan. So it kind of ups the emotional stakes for us, for her and for us. She goes, they're humans from the future. And then Saxon talks about taking his wife to the future. Time Lord and a human companion. See the stars, right, sweetheart? It was a little bit too much for her, though. Trillions of years into the future, end of the universe. And, it was the end. A little bit tough to handle, she says, so basically. And she goes, it's your fault, doctor. Or somebody says that, but then he goes, I worked it out with the paradox machine. And Martha works it out at the same time. Oh, fusing the coordinates. So the only place the TARDIS could go is this present time or 100 trillion years in the future where LARP planet and fake Utopia were. So the master, so Saxon had the TARDIS, and the only other place he could go was Utopia. So he found it, And he talks about how we're trying to manage the end of the universe, and as humans, still trying to adapt all the way, even, no diamonds, so there weren't any diamonds. Humans were kept adapting across the eons, Saxon says, and, universe going bye-bye. But then Saxon came and bring us home. That was pretty nice. But then the doctor says, but you're human and we're human. Why are you messing with us? And Martha goes, well, that's the paradox machine. And we see Saxon working on it. My masterpiece. TARDIS, the living TARDIS can hold that thing and allow it to work. Past and the future to collide. The doctor goes, yeah, but this isn't good. It's changing history. The whole universe is history. And he goes, yeah, I'm a Time Lord, so I can do it, man. That's what I can do. And why come all this way? We got to go back. Then the other thing says we can go backwards in time, 100 trillion years, or forwards in time. I don't know. Time Lords and humans combined. Haven't you always dreamt of that, Doctor? And then they say to the 12 Lord, why were you messing with us really? And they say, well, it's fun. And Mulligan doesn't like that. Then Saxon says, humans, you're all about humans being the best. I don't agree. I strongly disagree. Even though then he holds hands with his wife and he says, good night, bye-bye. And they take one another in one another's arms and head off. And then Martha's kind of going over a recap with Mulligan and Professor Doherty. And then she goes, before I escaped, the doctor whispered something to me. And she has these flavored waters. She was Unit, Torchwood. Everybody was studying Time Lords in secret, and they made this flavored water. If you mix all four flavors, Time Lord will cease time. The clock on the Time Lord will stop ticking, and they'll no longer regenerate because they're immortal otherwise, or they have regeneration. Before flavored waters, I only have 3 of the flavors though. I have blue snow, red sunshine, and amber waves of grain. Got those in Budapest, London, San Diego. Well, Budapest, London, and San Diego. Now I got to go to London to get this one or something. And Beijing, I think, was the other one. They go, you can't go. That London's a mess right now. Ultimate Defense. Professor, they go, thanks a lot, by the way. Good work. Martha kisses the professor on the cheek. She watches after them. She's got 2 sweaters on. She goes, Martha, are you sure you can do it? Gather all the flavored water and get the Saxon to drink it? You don't look like that convincing to me. Martha just gives her a look like, girl or professor, you don't get it. Very cool look. Then we see Martha Mulligan. I would have been jealous if she became Martha Mulligan. They go into apartment number 8 in London. It's full of people on lowdown. And these are people in the resistance, I think. But, oh, no, they're workers for the shipyards. They go, are you Martha Jones? Are you really going to feed flavored water or something to Saxon? Who is Saxon anyway? And everybody's got questions for Martha. She goes, no, I'll answer your questions. You want me to talk? I will. Then we see Professor Doherty. She goes into the secret TV. And she goes, I have priority 1. They go, state your intent. And she goes, I want to know about my son. And they go, state your intent. She goes, what's up with my son? And they go, state your intent. But we know She's going to leak out stuff about Martha Jones, information for Saxon concerning Martha Jones. Then Martha's talking about traveling over the world, New York, China, Europe, met people just like you everywhere across the world. But, Martha Jones isn't really the legend. There's another one. My name's not important. There's someone else. The person who sent me out here and told me to walk the earth, the doctor. And he's the one who saved you a bunch of times. You didn't even know he was there, but he did. He never stops. He never stays. He never asks to be thanked. But I've seen him. I know him. And I love him. Oh, boy, do I. And Mulligan closes his eyes. Martha goes, I know what he can do. And then somebody comes in, they say, Saxon just showed up, hide Martha. So they put a jacket over Martha, and Saxon's walking around, wiggling his fingers. There's Toblerones, there's members of his elite team, and everybody's like, what are we going to do? There's shopping carts. He goes, Martha Jones, I know you're there. And there's industrial music playing, a lot of it. And, rain-soaked streets, spotlights, direct TV dishes. And he says, Martha, what would the doctor do? Martha's a little nervous. I don't know. She's like, I couldn't figure out if she closes her eyes are wide. She closes her eyes. She goes to put her necklace on. She does put it on. She holds it, and then she says, I'm going to go out there. And she says, excuse me, Tom Mulligan, or whatever your first name was, that Scooter forgot, probably at least on some level intentionally because he's jealous of you. She opens the door. She comes out, and then Saxon's like, oh, there she is. Good, great job. You don't have any flavored water that would pause me, do you? And he goes, why don't you put that bag down? Give it over here. He zaps the bag. I couldn't figure out, I don't see her necklace on her right now, but it could be under her clothes. But I don't think it becomes a thing anymore anyway. He zaps her bag with the colored waters in there, flavored waters. He goes, now a good companion. Then Tom Mulligan comes out. He gets paused himself. He's thinking about pausing Martha, but he goes, oh, I should do it in front of the doctor, obviously. Obs. We should do this with the doctor. Martha just frowns and stares at him. He takes a big inhale. He goes, almost dawn, Martha. Looks around. Planet Earth, and all my Toblerone are going to get to work. Then we're back on ship. There's a PA. Citizens of Earth, get ready. Martha marches on. Her sister and her mother look on. Saxon's at the top of the bridge with his wife. Then we see Martha's dad. She's doing a slow walk. Jack kind of gives her a grimace. Martha looks at the doctor in a bird cage and says, he still has a pinstripe suit, but it's more like pajamas. And then Saxon's like, give me your teleport device, yo. Do your job. Oh, wait, this is way behind. She's hypnotic. And Saxon says, kneel before me. We're ready to launch the fleet. 200,000 ships across the universe. No, I can't tell if they have like some sort of black hole makers or they're full of Toblerone. Oh, yeah, the black hole converters, or they're going through black holes. 180 seconds to left. Get them moving. He goes, I can't resist a ticking clock. Are you ready, Toblerone? We will fly. Oh, boy. They're like orbiting Earth, 158 seconds. At zero mark, we'll start with Martha going big farming. That'll be my first big farm. Got anything to say? Martha just looks at him. Doctor's poor posture. Such a disappointment. Back in the day, you had companions you were in love with and that could absorb time vortices. He says, bow your head a little early because you still have 1 hour and or 1 minute, or no, 2 minutes left. No offense, Saxon, but he said, this is a new order of the Time Lords. I guess maybe has a 2-minute speech. From this day forward, Martha starts laughing at him. And Saxon's like, what's so funny? She goes, do you really believe that thing about flavored water in 4 parts? Come on. How could you have fallen for that? He goes, what do you mean? The doctor goes, do you really think I would have asked Martha to do something like that? Sneaky flavored water? Martha's like, I knew Professor Doherty was going to tell on me. We knew about her son. So then we get a flashback. Did you realize that? And he goes, well, it doesn't matter. This is inevitable. I'm inevitable. And she goes, I knew what I was doing. Do you know what I was doing? Just traveling the world telling a story? No offense, just words. That's what the doctor told me. All alone, or on my own. Told my story, told people to pass it on about how the doctor saved everything. I love him. Pass it on. Pass it on, Martha, the heart doctor, so everyone would know. But Martha also loves the doctor, not just in that way. The doctor said, use the countdown. Think of one word at one specific time. And the dude Saxon's like, not going to happen. Now we're at 16 seconds. A prayer right across the world. One moment, one thought, one word. 15 satellites to amplify it. That gets Saxon's attention. Jack says, Archangel, baby. Telepathic field. We're all fused. Same thing, same time. And that word is doctor. And the countdown goes, and the doctor starts to get these cosmic powers. But Saxon's like, oh, no. We get a series of shots. Jack, Martha's mom, Martha's sister, all saying doctor. The whole world, Martha's dad, he's saying stop it. Even his wife says doctor, doctor. Everybody's chanting. People are going out into town squares. The doctor's returning. I guess now he's Benjamin buttoning. He's buttoning up his Benjamin, as they said. He's not, it sounds like wrong. Button up the old Benjamin. That means be quiet, Scoots. So the doctor says one thing you can't do as he becomes full, is you can't stop people from thinking. Jack laughs. The doctor grows. He's translucent a little bit, or glowing. Saxon's stunned. Everybody's smiling. Martha starts to hug her family. Wind starts blowing. Tries to laser the doctor. The doctor says, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Piece of paper blows in Jack's face. The doctor takes away his laser beams. Says, I don't hate laser beams. I just don't like how when you disuse them. Saxon says, this isn't fair. You can't do this. And the doctor says, you know what happens now? I got to hug you and love you. Just like me. This reminds me. I say, no, please. He goes, you wouldn't listen. And now you know what I'm going to say. And Saxon crawls back. There's a part of me. There's a Saxon inside me. Holy moly. And he curls up and the doctor embraces him. He says, I forgive you. And Saxon's still like, protect the paradox, protect the paradox, protect the paradox, the Toblerones say. And he says, Captain Jack, go to the paradox machine. And then Saxon tries to escape, by teleport. Doctor comes, there's lightning. He says, now it ends. The rockets are getting ready to launch. So he still thinks it's inevitable, but Jack's running. Martha and her sister and her mom are trying to steer the ship. We got Valiant control it. Got black hole converters inside every ship. Maybe I'll just open up those and Earth will go, I don't know what'll happen. Saxon thinks he does. Jack, there's Toblerone blocking the TARDIS, but Jack outwits and, he outdances them with some other people that used to work for Saxon. But Jack, he doesn't even have to regenerate. He doesn't have to respawn. Then, we can see a lot of Toblerone in the sky, a flurry of Toblerone. And then the doctor says, listen, all you do is talk and talk and talk. But all these years, he goes, I have the secret, man. I know you. He goes, you don't want to get rid of these ships. That's the one thing you can't do. And Saxon's actually thoughtful and quiet. Doctor reaches out his hand. He says, give it over, man. You can't detime a time. Time Lords can't detime. Then we have Jack on the TARDIS. He takes out the paradox machine. And you know what happens when you take out a paradox machine? You only have one dock. I don't know if that's quite, but I love that paradox joke. What do you call two docks on top of one another that look like one dock, but they're actually two docks, but one's submerged, so you don't know it's there? Paradox. It's still a paradox. Everyone get down, time's reversing, a lot of wind, a lot of rocking, a lot of smiling. Doctor and Martha actually are gleeful. Oh, the doctor transports back with Saxon, or Saxon transports back. And we get Earth, wind blowing on Earth, clouds, dust, people falling down because they say, hey, when time reverses, it gets shaky. My children protected paradox, Jack on the run, 6 billion spheres, just checking my notes here. Spheres coming in, face off, I know you. We've got the moon going and the Earth going backwards or forwards, I'm not even sure. And finally, the Valiant slows down and parks on a kind of foggy day. We see the bridge covered in papers. You'd think they would have had their papers more organized. We see Earth back to normal Earth stuff, human being human, traffic, walking, biking, eyes closed. Oh, this is coming up. Only 2 left. 2 minutes past 8. One day they call. They say, "Where's that president-elect of the U.S.?" And they say, "Well, we got to call you back. We'll call you back. Everything else is normal. Everything. That's what happened. A lot of the stuff didn't happen. You're all going to remember it. Unfortunately, I think spheres are back at the end of the world, or to whatever. We're at the eye of the storm." The doctor introduces himself to Martha's dad. Saxon tries to run off a helicarrier, which is not a good idea, but Jack catches him. What do we do with this one? People have strong feelings about him, especially as Martha's family, but the doctor says, you're my responsibility from now on. You're the only other Time Lord. Just the two of us. We can make it if you try. Can't trust him. Yeah, no, he's got to be on the TARDIS, though. So you're going to keep me? And he goes, if I have to, that's maybe what we existed to do. Time to change. Maybe I've been wandering too long. So maybe this was a cliffhanger when it came out. Was there going to be another season? I don't know. But then it's actually his wife, who still has a kind of dazed look, who says maybe if Saxon should go like a butterfly in the sky and kiss, whatever. So he goes, the doctor holds him. He goes, just regenerate, man. Do a regen. And he goes, I guess you don't know me so well because I won't, I can't, and I will, and I won't. And the doctor goes, come on. And he goes, no. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life with you, dude. The doctor gets a tear because, he goes, I'm going to the big TARDIS in the inside of wherever it may be, within a fold of, some sort of thingamajig that's beyond Scoots' time vortices. We're the only two left. The doctor says, come on, please. So he goes, come on, regen, man, regen. And Saxon laughs. Saxon's got very perfect teeth. Can't do it. I win. Bye-bye. As NSYNC or Backstreet said, ain't no lie, baby. Bye, bye, bye. He goes, you think the drumming's going to stop, though? We get a flashback, moon vortex in his kid's eye. Doctor's really grimacing. And Saxon takes a nappy poo. And And the doctor holds him and rocks back and forth. Tries to comfort himself. Everybody else is looking on. Martha and her mom are holding each other. Martha's dad's holding Martha's sister. Jack looks up in the sky or to the roof of the... So I wonder how this thing's assembled. And we have the doctor. He lights a candle for Saxon, or a few candles, so GOT style. I said, I haven't seen that many candles since, what's his name? Stannis Baratheon. And actually, that wasn't Stannis, because that was like, and I say, oh, yeah, that was when I lost all respect for Stannis Baratheon. This is different. Doctor's got his duster on, suit buttoned up, hair looking spectacular. He walks off a little bit thoughtful and unhappy, I would even say. And we see the candles. The candles didn't burn out long ago. They eventually will, and the legend maybe. I think then we're back at the waterfront, and everybody already forgot about the doctor they're talking about. Jack says, well, I got to get back to work. Doctor says, come with me. He goes, no, I've been on a plane for a year that never was. I got a team here and I got to get to work. Responsibility, doctor. Doctor says, okay, defend the nurse. I respect it. And he goes, I need my thing. And the doctor says, I can't have you having a time traveler. You could go anywhere twice to apologize. And Jack says, what about me? Am I going to live forever? And the doctor says, I don't know. I can't do anything about it, so I don't know. You're impossible. Then Jack gives him and Martha a salute, like he gives him in a wink. They give him a nice, he goes off and he goes, what about aging, you know? He goes, if I can't, he goes, you know, I'm getting gray hair and stuff. He goes, what happens? And the doctor goes, I don't know, man. I don't know. And he goes, okay, I'm just being vain. He goes, you know, I used to be a poster boy, Beauchene Peninsula, Look magazine or something. Because this is a tiny place. I don't know if it was in the UP, but because Time Agency first signed me up. They called me the face of Beau. And Dr. Martha get an OMG face. He goes, I'll see you. And they go, not if we see you first. They didn't say that, but they go, no way. And it can't be. They're both stunned. Even the doctor, no, definitely not. Martha laughs, touches the doctor's forearm. And then we go to Martha's parents' house. It looks like her parents may be reunited. Her brother's there. We're looking in through the window through the doctor, who now has a blue Navy suit on. Martha's mom stares out at him, kind of gives him a smile frown. I guess more she feels sorry for him. Martha gives a smile frown to her mom. Doctor goes on, throws his jacket on the TARDIS. His shoes match his shirt and his tie. Puts his hands in his pockets. And he says, we see he's still got his regen. Kicks his feet up on his launch chair. Martha comes on. The doctor goes, okay, let's hit the open road. Let's fire it up. Meta Sigma Folio, Skyle like oil on water, fancy a look back in time, Charles II, Henry VIII. What about Agatha Christie? I'd love to meet her. And that'd be a blast. But Martha says nothing. And he goes, okay. And she goes, yep, can't go. The doctor goes, yeah. She goes, all those years, you know, I trained to be a doctor. Martha says this. And now I have people I can help. They went through a lot, my family. I can't leave them behind. Doctor's like, yeah. And he just kind of sighs. Then he smiles, a bigger smile, a crafty smile. He says, thank you. Martha doesn't quite return his smile. They hug. I've gotten this hug, but I was not, I was getting hugged by Martha, but she was telling me what her hug was saying to the doctor. And she goes, you know, I'm not second best. I'm good. I spent all this time with you thinking that. He doesn't even get that. She smiles big. She pokes him. And he goes, you're going to be all right. All right, then. And she kisses him on the cheek, barely. Then she goes to leave once. She takes a big sigh, starts to walk off. The doctor thinks about it, but then Martha turns back. And there's a nice pause to wonder. But I love this extra scene. She goes, listen, my friend Vicky had this thing with this guy, Sean. They all lived together and she liked him, but he didn't even know she existed. And she spent all day long thinking about him. Doctor goes, is this going anywhere? He never looked at her twice, Martha says. Then she turns her head. He liked her as a friend, but that was it. Doctor puts his head down. And she wasted her time pining after him. Relatable? Oh, yeah. And, I told her again and again and again, I said, get out of there. And the doctor gives us a faint nod. And so Martha goes, this is me getting out. Oh, boy. And then she gives him the phone, though. She goes, by the way, this doesn't mean I need a time machine to go back to 2007 right now and bump into Martha when she comes out of the TARDIS. And doctor says, got it. She turns and walks off. He looks over his shoulder. I'll see you again, mister. Doctor smiles. And Martha opens the door, goes out, stops again, pauses. And she's happy. She smiles. The doctor gives a thoughtful look, sits on the control panel of the TARDIS, breathes, and says, then Martha goes in. Her mom's like, Martha's back. Doctor fires up the TARDIS, or starts, warming it up, get some breeze. We get some TARDIS sounds. He thinks about the candles. And then we see this weird ring thing, which I guess I didn't realize the Time Lord was wearing a ring. But apparently he was, or something. I don't know. That'll come in handy one day. I don't know when. Doctor starts pressing buttons, and then we hear a horn, and we see a ship. And this one, I said, it doesn't look like that ship, but we see that it is the Titanic. The doctor says, what, over and over again. What? Bell rings. He sees it's the Titanic. He says, what? And then the episode ends with, come to the holiday special, which we'll do at some point. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. And, I hope you enjoyed it. I did. Who? Doctor Who? The Doctor. Thanks, everybody. Good night. I just want to thank some of the people that signed up for our newsletter to support people experiencing homelessness. And, you could sign up if you want to be a part of, give free live streams of the live shows, and be a part of our community. I really appreciate everybody that signed up. I want to thank TS, Cher, and Heidi. Thanks, and good night. Crosby, Shirley, and Paff. Thanks, and good night. Karen, Rita, and Nancy. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Amy, Kathleen, and Julie. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Rachel, Chelsea, and Megan. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Jamie, MS, and Aisha. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Susie, Ricky, and Mary. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Sarah, Jan, and Meredith. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Carol, Philip, and Carl. Thanks, and good night. Susan, Lee, and Johnny. Thanks, and good night. Abna, Sean, and Catherine. Thank you, thanks, and good night. John, Ada, and Emma. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Stephen, Kimmy, and Penny. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Steve, Ann, and Humphrey. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, and good night. Couldn't do much of any of this without all your support. Those of you that are supporting the community around the show, sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission, sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. And those of you that make the podcast possible to be produced and come out twice a week, our patrons, our supporters, and the people that support the sponsors. And the best free way to help the show is be a part of our community, sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission, or just spread the word about podcasting in general. Thank you so much for listening. There's plenty more episodes. Because of these actual Talk You In sponsors and people that support the sponsors, we were able to grow We're close to, I think, 500 free episodes. So if you need another episode, it's ready to go for you. Thanks so much and good night.